Welcome back, my friends, to episode 7 of
No Gods,
No Kings, Only Men.
The show where my brother and I read short fantasy stories that we write to each other based on prompts. And they're usually loose. They're usually loose and fun.
Is a fair definition. It's been a disco minute.
It's been a minute. Yeah. Not as long as our last break. Our last break was like a year.
True.
So,
what's been new with you, man? It's been a couple months.
Yeah, I've been going to school. We got some plans on the horizon. I'm thinking of dropping school to go to haircut school.
Which I think that's a pretty good move,
follow your dreams, man. Kids. Yeah, follow those dreams, guys. No, I met like a bunch of wild kids in my 20s. They all want to like drop everything and move to Japan and get trade degrees. So I might do that.
That's pretty baller, dude.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa, Desu-san.
Gohan. Anyway, Ogenki desu ka, Gavin? How are you?
Okay. I got a new job, right? Working at the hospital and shit.
Yeah, I have a vague idea of what your job is. I'm not sure why your hours are so early.
Oh, though. I basically start a little bit before midnight, and I get off work at like, whatever.
Yeah. So do you do like drug administration? Do you just like
I wish
supplies?
No, I just run around with samples of blood, piss, and other, fluids.
That's kind of fun. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like as a family, we're very good at hospitals.
I've noticed that.
Spend a lot of time in them,
but I am, the pay's good. It's honestly a really chill job. I feel like I'm doing good for people, so that's nice. However, I'm just kind of overworking for people. So I'm getting ready to drop everything and open up a hot dog stand.
A hot dog stand?
Yeah, bro.
All right, move to Portland. That's it. You gotta,
No.
Food trucks are booming here.
Well, yeah, there's way too many fucking food trucks there. You know what we don't have here in California?
Food trucks.
Fucking food trucks.
Hot dog stands.
Yeah, no one has like a good New York style hot dog stand. And when I was in Alaska, bro, they have this weird there's so many fucking cool things that Alaskan hot dog stands do, man. And I learned that shit, and I got this knowledge. I'm gonna use it. There's a bunch of factories down here, man.
Fucking seal blubber on the grill, or
you don't even know. I don't even think I should say what it is, but it's dank. Yeah.
Some danky, stanky, hot diggity dogs.
Oh, speaking of dogs, I don't know if this happened on the last episode, but I have a dog.
Is it the small one? Did it grow up?
I remember when you got the puppy. Now. It's like 50 pounds.
Yeah, that's a big dog. That's a hunk of dog. Yeah, I remember you sent me pictures when it was a puppy, and it was like, I don't know, pretty dopey puppy, but they all are.
Yeah, it's still dopey.
I didn't know you went to Alaska, though. Why'd you go?
Girlfriend wanted to see the Northern Lights.
That is fair. You gotta do it for the GF.
So if you hear trouncing and squeaking in the background of this recording, that's just...
I hear some whimpering and clicking, clacking.
Yeah. She's not whimpering.
Sure.
She's just like biting a squeaky toy. She's...
Oh, I see. Squeaking.
She's a predator, but she doesn't cry. Speaking
of predators, my cat has been... He's been killing too much. It's a problem. It's So I'll tell the story. I was hanging out with a bunch of friends, right? And he brought in a half dead mouse in his mouth, and he just dropped it on the floor. But he didn't finish killing it. So for like 20 minutes, like all my friends and I were trying to figure out how to kill the mouse.
Oh my god!
Because like he wouldn't do it, and like I tried just sweeping it out the door. Like a bird will eat it, like nature will take its course, whatever.
Oh, that's terrible, dude.
So I swept it into I swept it. I know it's bad, but I didn't have it in me, so I swept it outside. And then Titus fucking jumps out picks it back up, still not killing it all the way, and drops it back on my floor. Like, just like,
he loves you.
No, you have to do it, Declan. So we failed miserably at trying to kill this mouse for like a long time through various methods. We eventually landed on we drowned it in a cup. And, now it is decomposing in a pickle jar. I will collect its bones in a few months, but yeah, no, I felt real fucked up. I mean, it was like completely unconscious basically, and we gave it we like put fumes in its face to make it like knocked out like completely. So
okay, all right.
Like when it was in the water, like it didn't move. Like it wasn't trying to swim. It was just asleep. So
brutal.
Anyway, that's a fucked up story, but it's my cat's fault. So
that's really funny because there was a rabid mouse that was like staggering around my front yard in the middle of the day, and like, dude, it was fucked up.
Yeah, I found out some like WikiHow has some fucked up entries I didn't know about till now, but they have, because we looked it up, like how to kill a mouse, and one of the methods is like, you know how like baking soda and vinegar makes like a volcano?
Oh god.
So what that reaction is apparently CO2 like catalyzing. So if you do that reaction in a closed space, it'll create a CO2 chamber.
Oh.
So WikiHow literally has an entry on how to kill mice that begins with step 1, prepare the CO2 chamber.
That's pretty
Yeah, we were just like, I didn't know WikiHow had mice gas chambers, but they fucking do. The other pieces of advice we got were like, put it in a lunch bag and stomp on it, and that sounded... I do think that would have been the most humane, like quickest, but
yeah,
we kind of wanted to like keep its bones to like, you know, memorialize it. So we didn't want to like shatter its entire body. So yeah, and I don't have baking soda because I'm not a real adult, so we had to. A little bit gruesome, but anyway,
I ended up using a machete.
Finishing your fucking job. Yeah, I mean, I have a hatchet. I thought about cutting it, but I don't have the strength to like bleed an animal, you know? I just couldn't.
If you bring down the axe fast enough, it'll just be like the momentum will just do it for you. Like,
I think we overthought the situation for so long that it was like too personal, you know?
I cried after decapitating that mouse for like, I don't even know how long, but like way too fucking long. My girlfriend's like, dude, are you alright? I'm like, I just beheaded a mouse.
I'm not alright. I took a life. I've never done that. Yeah,
just
no,
give me a second,
we were all real fucked up that day. We were just like, what do we do now? We played at funeral songs as it suffocated in a bag, but that didn't work. It just made it more unconscious. Yeah. No, my friend was like, oh, hold on, I have a funeral song. And then she fucking queued up You Raise Me Up. You know that song? Like the Danny Boy, but with different lyrics song by that one guy that looks like a hobbit.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway. Speaking of rodents.
Yes, speaking of rodents. Today's prompts.
The prompts today are opossums and dryads.
Absolutely. I believe both of those were supplied by your friends.
You know, it's been a while, but come to think of it, those are the two exact friends that helped me kill the mouse. So
interesting.
I hope they're listening.
It all comes full circle, eh?
Yeah, circle of life, circle of death. Yeah, for those of you, if this is your first episode, I mean, why not? I'm sure the earlier ones are lower quality.
I mean, you get to listen to us talking about how we've murdered rodents.
So the rules are we write short fantasy stories that are comedic in nature, and they're gonna have to include those two prompts in some way. So
yeah,
that's what we'll be reading.
We play a little loosey goosey with the prompts.
Yeah, it's I mean, you can do anything with the prompts, because sometimes I make the prompt like my main character or the conflict or an artifact.
We could also totally ignore the prompts if it comes down to it.
You can ignore the prompts and say, like, and by the way, Possum was watching the whole time, or like, something. Spoiler alert, my prompts are very used, so.
A spoiler alert, I do not depict possums accurately through the story.
Yeah. I don't think I did either.
I changed a few things, like, so in reality, like, there's a possum who lives under my house, and we got a few in the neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just so everyone's, like, not confused on the matter, they're solitary creatures, they're super disease resistant, and, everything I know about dryads comes from the D&D monster manual, so, like...
Give them a good rep. Yeah. Yeah. I just took it as, like, trees woman. That's what I thought it meant. Yeah, I mean, this episode, it's got some animal facts. You better believe it. You better be ready.
It's got a couple in there, but there's a couple animal lies, at least in my story. So
okay.
You know,
we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Which one of us should read first? How long is your story?
My story is a couple pages. I don't know.
You want to do a word count?
No.
No? Okay.
How about I go second? Mine ends on a cliffhanger.
Ooh, a cliffhanger. Okay, yeah, we'll leave it for last. Shall we transition?
Sounds good. Let's cue up that transition music.
Whoa, that transition was awesome.
Right? That was some good tunes.
That was so cool. All right, Gavin, are you ready for my story of Possums and Dryads?
I am ready.
All right, this one does not have a title, so we're going to name it right now.
Okay.
Title is... You know how Declan always makes other genres into fantasy? Well, this time... It's a detective noir. Let's go. All right. The Guardian Grove is a deeply wild stretch of forest which lies between the lands of the Dark Lord and the kingdoms of men. So named by humanity, for the grove's wild beasts rip apart the forces of the dark that would tread brazenly through it. Despite this, the holdings of Sir Surveyor, a vassal of the DJ Duke, cut away at the grove day after day, fetching wood to fuel their fires and expand their great hall.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Were the realms of the Dark Lord a metaphor for the slowly encroaching inevitability of man-made climate change? Hey, I don't know. Maybe. But you should know, while we're interpreting shit, author intentionality is a lie. There is no grand design. Art becomes the consumer's when it is published, and it becomes just as much yours as it was the creator's.
Fuck.
I honestly can't believe this sentiment that authors are all geniuses that carefully select every word they put on a page. No one could actually do that. Your truth will come across in your writing because of who you are as a person. No one is writing novels with a dictionary on their desk. Valorizing artists in this way is probably why you can't get over yourself enough to actually make anything. It's probably why you're an English professor.
Ooh.
You can tell I wrote this story right before I dropped out of school. Shit. So anyway, beneath the feet of thornroot pine. You like that transition?
Holy shit. I loved it.
Yeah. Okay, I hope you like this story, Gavin. This one's for you. This one's for the real ones. Shit. So anyway, beneath the feet of thornroot pines, beneath the very earth of the grove, stews the undergrowth, hub of all the grove's shady dealings. A series of dark catacombs, giant ant tunnels, and black market mushroom neural networks. The undergrowth is a nature spirit's one-stop shop for clandestine activities. Yeah, you like that fungal neural network? I know you like.
Yeah, I like all of that. Yeah. I didn't know there's a black market like in the fucking woods. That's where I put it.
Nature has a underground capitalist society. Who knew?
Good on them.
Syndra,
good on them.
Yeah. Syndra, queen dryad of the trees, stood at the bar counter of the Firehouse, a nightclub run by the most bioluminescently lit giant fire ants of the underground.
Nice.
When Syndra wasn't on a mission, her essence was usually tucked inside a gargantuan heart tree which lies in the grove's center. But tonight, she needed shit done, and took her fine-as-hell humanoid form. Her being was conjured into a woman-like body with skin and sinew made from smooth bark and tree roots. Her eye sockets glue in the dim of the club. A fire ant bartender, who was washing 2 glasses at once because he had a bunch of arms, made his way over to Syndra. You know how they're always washing glasses.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, Miss S. Been a while. Looking good. Good to be back, Schmavid. Due to the fact that a single fire ant queen can lay as many as 1,000 eggs per day, most giant ants are notoriously lazy at naming their kids. On the day Schmavid was born, his dear mom was just kind of adding random letters to the name David. What brings you by, Mrs. S? I'm here to have a chat with Reggie Opossum. Schmavid clicked his mandibles as he poured Syndra a clay mug of fermented aphid milk. He's a dangerous rodent, Miss S. Must be desperate times. I can handle the little weasel. Don't lose any sleep, Schmavid. I won't, Mrs. S. Only enter a rest cycle of approximately 8 minutes every 12 hours anyway. He's lurking in that booth in the corner.
It's some real shit right there. I love it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I knew this episode would need like a lot of animal facts. When there's an animal in the prompts, you gotta. Schmavid outstretched a segmented arm, still washing a mug in his lower arms. Sure enough, in the shade of a corner booth sat a possum wearing a tiny possum-sized patched trench coat and trilby. He could pull off the look, though, unlike Ian from episode 1. Syndra began to part from the bar to make his acquaintance. As she left, Schmavid brushed his antenna back in nerve. You know, Miss S., Reggie can make anyone play dead, it's true, but he plays by his own rules. Schmavid, so sweet of you to worry, but he'll be handled. With that, Syndra came to the booth. A blue-tinted fungal lamp cast the possum in shadow. I gotta think of a voice for Reggie.
Dude, I'm loving this so far. This set dress is incredible.
Reggie's got a chip on his shoulder.
Oh yeah.
But he is a rodent, so. You the one with the job? Squeaked Reggie in a somehow gravelly squeak. Syndra took her seat across from Reggie, whose furry underbelly faced her, as he was basically just standing up on his haunches on his seat. Syndra replied glibly, You're going to kill Sir Surveyor for me. Reggie let out a whistle. Right out with it, eh? Well, let me be blunt with you in return. No, I ain't. There's a lot in it for you. Look, lady, no amount of acorns, syrup, and scrap you can put my way will bring me back from the dead. And make no mistake, that's what I'll be if I go after the sir. The man crushes environmental regulations underfoot on his way out of the house every morning. I couldn't get you a friggin' crust of bread out of his bins, let alone kill the man.
Fuck.
I figured you'd say as much. Syndra snapped her bark fingers, and 2 grizzly bears wearing ski masks a couple tables down got up. One of the bears bore a wriggling burlap sack over his shoulder. Standing on their hind legs, they blocked any exit from the booth. You think you can scare me with these two muscleheads? Syndra ignored the comment. She made a gesture and grunted in bear. The grizzly on the left slammed the sack down onto the table. Syndra pointed a finger forward. Its bark clicked and creaked, narrowing into a thorny point. She ripped the bag open lengthwise, uncovering a very pasty and panicked man inside. He was bound and gagged, his eyes filled with panic. One bear turned to the other and grunted. The English subtitles read, "What a waste of a perfectly good kidnapping sack." The other bear shrugged. Who's this supposed to be? Asked Reggie. He is your ticket to the Sir, said Syndra. Reggie laughed. The man began to cry out of sheer misunderstanding because the narrator has been translating Wildspeak this whole time. To him, he was in an underground club and a drooling, barking possum in a trench coat was cackling over him to a magic-speaking tree woman. This man, continued Syndra, is a senior detective serving underneath the Sir. His partner is due to receive a Medal of Honor from Sir Surveyor himself at a ceremony tonight. So it looks like he'll be pretty late to watching his friend get some medal pinned to his chest. What does it have to do with me? Actually, he won't ever make it to the ceremony, but you will. Syndra raised an oaken arm in front of her. In an instant, it shot forth, doubling in length. This protrusion narrowed, puncturing into Reggie's flesh. Fuck, shit, fuck, said Reggie. A new root sprung from the underside of the same arm. This stuck into the man wriggling on the table. The glow of his life flowed from this root into Syndra, from Syndra into Reggie. This glow pulsated into Reggie as he grew and grew to the size, shape, and look of the man. Bruh. He now looked exactly like the man on the table, save for a pair of whiskers on his face. Gods, what have you done to me? You are cursed to humanity until the deed is done. The curse will be lifted when the Sir is dead, I swear it. Oh God, this is awful, bemoaned Reggie. I just have the urge to discard over a third of the food products I produce, and the possum side of me wants to eat that food out of the dumpster. This is hell. Silence, Syndra commanded.
Fuck.
Her thorn... Dude, humanity's a curse, it really is.
Low-key? Yeah, but... I got faith.
I do, yeah. I'm glad I'm a human, not a possum. But being a possum human would be hard.
Yeah.
Silence, Syndra commanded. Her thorn squelched out of Reggie's wound, earning a twinge of pain from the possum man. Syndra took her elongated spike and snapped it off with an indifferent swagger. Magic warped around the wood as Syndra shaped it into an ornate wooden shiv. Dude. Use this, she said, tossing the weapon onto the table in front of Reggie. It'll make it clear past the metal detector mages under the Sir's employ.
And dude, where there's a will, the black market finds a way.
Yeah, dude. Just the shivs, I mean, it's like 3D printing a gun, you know? Yeah. So the story kind of cuts ahead abruptly, but...
Okay, I'm there.
Reggie had stumbled his way out of the woods well enough. He had been gifted the man's clothing before he was thrown out of the Underdark. His legs took some getting used to, but by the time he was out of the brush, he was strolling. Soon he found the Sir's Great Hall, a gargantuan wooden keep which sprang from the center of a village near the wood. This night a warm glow emitted from high windows which were lined with sharpened poles. From beyond the keep's tall vaulted doors, Reggie could hear the chatter of the ceremony. Reggie paced forward, climbing a short set of platforms which led to the great door. As he drew himself up, he came to face two men clad in long red robes guarding the entrance. Wait just a moment, friend, the one on the left spoke. Routine metal detection, the other added. Reggie held his arms out and let the mages do their work. They splayed their hands over Reggie in unison, chanting their spell words. Beep, 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 beep. All clear, the mages crossed their arms and bowed. Please proceed inside to the X-ray mages. The X-ray mages? Reggie asked sheepishly. Yeah, they're new. Before Reggie could protest, the double doors of the keep were flung open mystically by the wizards. Reggie looked at each of them and cautiously stepped inside. The doors shut behind him, and he stood in a room of chattering guests doted upon by fancy fantasy waiters carrying all types of weird shit on trays. A man behind a booth flanked by 2 more mages in red welcomed Reggie to the event. "Do you have an invitation, sir?" the dressy man said like a snooty person from behind the booth. "Hey, I'm the detective's partner. Apologies, but as I just now escaped capture, I do not have my invitation on me." Reggie oft found that the best lies have a bit of truth in them.
Fair enough.
The host... They do, it's true. The host's eyes lit up as Reggie said this. A pleasant surprise indeed, good man. Detective Graves hardly wanted to take the stage without you. Please, hurry. Hurry to him." The man unhooked a line of velvet rope which sectioned off the entrance from the party.
I love the voice of this mage.
Yeah, of the host waiter guy.
It sounds a little bit familiar.
It's my rich man voice, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
the classic snooty man.
Classic.
Reggie stepped through the threshold when one of the X-ray mages stopped him. "Routine X-ray inspection." Of course, Reggie said. He had to think fast. "Hey, buddy, you have something kind of funny on your face." Reggie coughed and put his fedora lower. Hey, does that person over there have a container that holds more than 3 ounces of liquid?" "No way! Stay right here. I'll get to the bottom of this, don't worry." "Absolutely, I'll stay right here." The mage began wading through the crowd, bothering each guest he passed about their mead skins. As soon as he went, Reggie strode right off into the thick of the crowd. Scanning for his target, Reggie observed the raised stage at the front of the banquet hall.
Dude, classic bureaucracy just played against itself.
Yeah, you gotta trick him. Many decorated officers of the Sir's court flanked either stairway of the stage, speaking among themselves. Between Skins McGraw, a notorious mercenary barbarian who only wore clothes made of the skins of his enemies. So, you know, you kind of always thought he was naked at first glance, but then you, see the neckline of the skin shirt. And the Lamplord, a knight who decorated his armor with obscene amounts of ever-burning oil lamps just so he could use more oil, stood a disheveled and dejected-looking man in a trench coat. Presuming him to be Detective Graves, Reggie began to nudge his way quickly to that side of the stage. Graves was looking forlornly up to the stage when Reggie made it to his backside. "God's dams, Grave. You could have at least worn a suit." The detective's back straightened with surprise when he heard the voice. He craned his neck back to see Reggie in the skin suit of his partner, smiling wide.
Did he have, little possum teeth?
Nah. Maybe. No one notices, though. They're just happy to see him.
Yeah.
"You friggin' bastard," Graves chuckled as he turned around fully to shake Reggie by the lapel. "I've been looking everywhere for you. After this goddamn wizard circus, you're buying me a drink and telling me everything." "Ain't you supposed to be sober?" Reggie retorted, really getting into his character now. "Never tried," Graves laughed. "But honestly, buddy, who the hell was it that nabbed you? I gotta know. We thought it was a mob hit, but our only witness said the guys that took you were 3.3 feet standing on all fours, an average of 600 pounds and covered in brown fur. That would have been enough to go on, but the sons of bitches were wearing masks."
Yeah.
Reggie was about to spin another golden lie out of nothing when the chandeliers of the hall began to dim. The murmuring of the gala died off gradually as from behind the front curtain Sir Surveyor strode on stage. He was wearing his evening clothes, a fine blouse beneath an otter-skin suit jacket topped with a beaver hat that had a raccoon tail stapled to it. When he made it to the front of... Yeah, dude, it's a look. When he made it to the front of the stage, he began his speech. "Evening, ladies and gentlemen, loyal servants, one and all. Tonight we honor the service of a few exemplar." As he grandstanded, Reggie pushed past Graves. He turned to him and whispered, "Shoulda put an APB out on 2 grizzly bears and ski masks." Graves gave a short laugh, then froze in thought, as Reggie strode right up the stairs past everyone, because, confidence already got him this far. Before anyone knew what was going on, Reggie was right to the side of the Sir, who was confused by the premature presence of someone on stage. The Sir turned to see Reggie stride confidently up to him. Detective, the Sir said in a questioning tone. Before he got an answer, however, Reggie drew his curved shiv from under his coat and plunged it into the Sir's stomach.
Fuck.
Oh, that was supposed to be cursed, not curved, but we're not going to read that again. It's a cursed shiv.
I imagine it's also kind of curved, you know?
It might be curved, yeah. A curved sword.
Curved
Reggie clasped...
shivs.
Curved shivs. Reggie clasped the Sir on the back as he keeled over into his weapon. Reggie leaned in and whispered, "Please welcome to the stage, one pissed-off possum." What? As the Sir said this final word, Reggie stabbed him again, this time in the chest. A deafening sound of cracking and splitting wood emanated from the Sir as Reggie backed away. In but a moment, the shiv lodged in the dying Sir's chest pulsed with energy and shot up in length, growing into a tree with huge pointed roots that pierced all of the Sir's bod meat. Mystically, the tree's trunk grew sturdy and wide in seconds while the Sir's corpse turned shriveled and hollow. A branch extended down from atop the shank tree's canopy, creaking into place now more slowly. The end of this branch formed into the shape of a hand, giving the stunned and silent crowd the middle finger. As soon as panicked gasps emerged from the onlookers and armed guards began to advance on Reggie, a green and yellow aura surrounded him. Just as fast as it had all happened, Reggie's form diminished, and a possum wearing a tiny hat leaps away from a rumpled man-sized trenchcoat on the floor. As the possum runs up the fuck you tree's trunk through the hole it created in the ceiling, we pan over to Graves' confused, shell-shocked face. What in the fuck? Finn.
No! Dude, is Graves gonna get revenge?
He's just confused.
Dude, like there's an opening for another story here.
Yeah, you want to see Graves get to the bottom of what really happened to his partner?
Yeah, man, he's got to
uncover the environmental corruption.
Dude, Graves, he's gonna have to take everyone out, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Graves is he's a serious detective. He didn't notice that his partner had whiskers, but he's pretty observant usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how'd you like the story, dude?
I liked it. It was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Yeah, this one was like, I don't know, it's longer than a few of my stories, but it like goes really fast. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that
it went places.
Went from one space to the next, and
yeah. Word count wise, it's like 2,500, so it's not short, really.
Really?
Yeah. But there's some fast flying paragraphs for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I think that when I started writing the story, I was gonna like keep Syndra, the Dryad Queen, for like most of it. But then I had more to write about the banquet hall than I thought I would. But
yeah, Syndra's fucking terrifying, you know?
She's a beast, dude. Yeah, she doesn't give a fuck.
She like owns this entire underworld.
Yeah, she really does. Yeah, listen, we need a story about Shmavid. We need one about Graves.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Any comments before we move to yours?
Well, again, I really liked it. I like the intrigue that was set up. Like, it makes me, I want more. Like, I need more.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The guy's dead. The job's done.
He was brave for a possum.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he had to lift his curse of humanity, so he really had no choice. I did consider, like, writing a line where, like, Syndra's, like, where, like, Reggie has, like, a love interest or something, where Syndra's like, you ever want to see her again, you'll do this or some shit, but then I was like, nah, being a human is enough incentive to, like, want to go back.
All right.
Transition.
Music. Alrighty, well, welcome to my story. I actually do have a title for this one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
One of us should.
This is called The Ballad of Big Squeak, Act 1,
Ooh,
The
name.
Boy. That's right.
I'm ready. So is this whole story going to be just one act?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I like it. I like that idea. Okay. We're getting the theater.
Okay. Many moon ago, in the backwoods of East Dracus, there was once a boy born in the dead of night in a strange, rural, forest-side hamlet under the star sign of the Beast. His life befret with tragedy from the very beginning, for soon after his birth, he was abandoned, not to a church or to a loving adoptive family, but to the neighboring woods themselves.
Yeah. Okay. Raised by possums. Let's go.
You see, it was something of a tradition for the locals to offer a firstborn son every few lunar cycles to keep the bloodthirsty tyrant of the woods appeased. Yeah. You can question
this is a dark world.
Like I've noticed that the longer we take before between recordings of the podcast, the darker my world gets. So
yeah.
like that's.
I feel like mine is kind of like vanilla fantasy, and Dracus is very like decayed old gods lurk in every corner.
I like yours. Yours makes me happier on the inside.
I'm glad. Yeah, because like my normal writing is very fucked, so it makes me happy too.
Okay. You see, it was something of a tradition for the locals to offer a firstborn son every few lunar cycles to keep the bloodthirsty tyrant of the woods appeased. You can question the ethics of this all you want, and indeed I would likely be on your side, but I don't make the traditions. I am merely here to observe. This boy, who was never given a true name, was not, as many before him, consumed by the foul denizens of the forest. He was placed upon a tree stump. However, it was not the stump. At least as far as the ritual dictated. The village's shaman happened to be sick that night and left the task of finding the ritual stump to his bumbling apprentice. Oh well, let's explore the repercussions of his carelessness, for good or for ill, though really there are too many to count. Evil Stevel noted here that causality mapping is a really difficult task in at least the simple language that men use to communicate.
I see.
Yeah.
Another Evil Stevel tale.
Well, I mean, okay, so I get all my tales
Or
from
footnote.
Dracus in the form of golden tablets that are shipped to me from Evil Stevel.
Yeah.
And, like, I have to douse them with fresh blood in order to, like, read it in my language.
Which is basically what publishing is.
Yeah, knowledge requires sacrifice, man, so...
Yeah.
Anyways.
I hear you're a squeaky dog.
This boy was not to be eaten by the cracked and splintery maws of the vile forest ents, nor was he to be absorbed by the writhing and slithering roots of the wandering vine wraiths. And most fortuitously, he was not taken by the vile despot of the forest herself. Who knows what would...
It's a female cannibal tyrant.
Cannibal is an interesting word.
Yeah. We both had powerful women in our stories.
Yeah. I mean, the prompt is Dryad, right?
Yeah, right.
Who knows what would befall a mortal who landed into her clutches? But surely, it would be far worse than anything else this forest could dish out. The monster who ruled over this forest, who managed the cycle of life, death, and decay, whose cold, calculating eyes watch critters be born and grow so that they might die and feed the roots of the whole forest. She whose only goal was to see the forest flourish by any means necessary. She who eagerly awaited the human sacrifice and was quite perturbed to not receive it. None truly know how or even when she came about. Some rumor that this forest was once logged until only a single sickly apple tree remained, and she, born out of the carnage, came into reality to reclaim what once was. Some say that she was here before the forest and created a realm to her own liking, around where she came into being, tending to it as one would tend to their very own body. But most would simply agree that she is not to be fucked with.
The classic dramatic exposition and then turn.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. It's a staple of the show.
I liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
The infant was not abandoned at one of her altars. No, far from it, in fact. Instead of suffering an immediately horrible fate, he laid blinking his weary eyes to get used to the moonlight, which cut through the fog as if it were me, in the line to a Redeemer hangover cure cart the morning after your mom challenges the whole town to a drinking contest.
Okay.
Yeah, think about that one.
Throw in some... Yeah.
Some, like a little bit of throwback to, what do you call it, episode 4 with the alchemists?
Yeah, I was going to say that I think the Paladin Frat edited this one.
Yeah. Also, calling your mom an alcoholic again.
Yep.
Sorry, listener. You got.
Sorry about your mom, guys.
Yeah, if you want to talk.
Our mom's awesome.
Yeah, no, our mom's a saint. Like, I don't know if we talked about this, but it's true.
So I'm sorry yours sucks, but...
The baby boy let loose some infantine grumbles and cries until he attracted the attention of a creature. He did not notice its pearl-like eyes shoot towards him. He did not notice the clawed feet crawl towards him. He did, however, notice the smell. A strange smell. A smelly smell that smelled smelly. The infant winced and crinkled its nose. He reached out a little baby hand towards the large furry form before him, which at first recoiled at this. But after a few sniffs, with its fleshy stump of a nose, a strange bond was formed.
Aww.
The rather large possum took the child.
Just scuttled away.
Yeah. I'd rather skip over the semantics as how it all worked out, as it was a little unorthodox. But this possum took in the human child and raised him as her own. You may be wondering how a human child could be carried on the back of a possum, as possum babies usually are, and that would be an excellent question. But the real question would be, why did the possum wait till the child was 3 years old before refusing possum back rides everywhere? Moving on. The boy took the name Big Squeak, and he adapted fairly well to his strange life in the possum clan. And yeah, so, okay, this is a little inconsistency. In this world, possums run in packs or clans, and they have collective dens and communities.
Our first animal lie.
Yeah.
Possums are not social creatures, apparently.
Not really.
That's why Reggie likes to linger in a bar alone.
I think that was pretty true to the possum nature.
Mm-hmm.
However, in my story, it does focus a bit on how possums are, kind of cowardly,
Okay. I mean, they do play dead.
It's that whole playing dead thing. It's like an involuntary reaction. Like they don't want to do it.
They're
freaks them
scared.
out.
Yeah, they don't like it.
Yeah. So
it'd be like if your greatest survival tactic was anxiety attacks.
Exactly. No, that's exactly what it is. Rough, dude.
What a life. Maybe Reggie should have stayed a human. That sounds fucked up.
All right. Time skip. Running through the forest in the dead of night, his sight was not well adjusted to the all-consuming blackness cast earthwards by the foliage. So instead of solely relying on his human eyes to navigate, he was forced to rely on his quick wit to follow his fellow possums' directions as they moved through the forest, as well as his memory of the forest floor. It was difficult, and it took him years to hone his reflexes and parkour skills to a razor's point, but it was the only way to keep up with the possum squad. The other possums would often give Big Squeak shit because he hardly had any fur.
Yeah.
So instead of waiting for fur to appear, Big Squeak resorted to mud coats and particularly sticky leaves he would find. The clan respected his ability to scavenge makeshift fur. This, among many other feats, earned Big Squeak some solid friends.
Nice.
Yeah. Truth be
You
told,
gotta have an artisan trade.
yeah. No, I mean, like, dude,
Yeah.
possums scavenge, man. And, like, if you just
True,
roll up
yeah.
and, like, hey, check this shit out.
Check this shit out. Mud? That's clothes now. That's
Yeah.
clothes, baby. That's clothes,
Weird
baby.
leaves? Fuck yeah, dude. Stick them with the mud.
That's also clothes, baby.
Truth be told, many of the possums quite liked having Big Squeak around. Having a big friendly creature who would carry you out of the warren if it floods or kick out curious foxes if they got too close. It was great. And in turn, they would give Big Squeak a little extra scavenged food. And so too was it that over the years, Big Squeak grew quite close to his adoptive clan, all the while never learning the truth of his origins. His possum mom would often spin tall tales of how she came to know Big Squeak, sometimes saying he was a gift from the forest itself, other times saying he was just a normal possum, but, a little big-boned. The rest of the clan had mixed feelings about Big Squeak. The few who got to know him became steadfast friends. Their names were Fat Mike and Stink Paw, respectively.
I like Stick Paw.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
Okay. Fat Mike is a thick boy who got trapped by wolves in a nut tree for 3 whole weeks before he realized that they had left. He was a good fellow who always knew where the best fruit trees were and would pick bugs out of your fur, no questions asked.
Nice.
Yeah. Stink Paw was real nice. A good and honest friend who never remembered to bathe himself. Felt like he was always on the scent trail of something big and led the trio into many a misadventure. Sometimes it even led to cool treasure, like a dead giant viper that one time, or a tree stump full of centipedes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm imagining this trio as like the cast of Stand By Me.
Yeah,
They just like find a body.
basically. Though, of course, in the clan, there was one possum who was the opposite of a fan. Old Bug Eater, the dominant possum of the clan. He was a petty and envious type, always trying to be the group leader. Probably would have been a good leader too if he had only managed to set aside his rivalry with Big Squeak, whose presence in the clan made Old Bug Eater very insecure about himself and his talents, which led to him getting real bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Bug Eater oft claimed to have a blood relation to wolves as an excuse for his alpha behavior, which got him into trouble. Yeah.
Boo.
You know who this guy is.
Sucks.
But I think he was just a dick and needed to blame that on something other than himself. Pretty gamma if you ask me, but whatever. Yeah.
I like that joke.
Evil Steve was a little sassy.
Yeah.
Big Squeak always knew that he was different from the others, but he didn't know just how different he was. His friends would always say that he would eventually grow his own fur, and surely become the biggest possum ever, and lead them to the fabled compost heap of legend. And indeed, when Big Squeak got his first pube-like mustache, he displayed it proudly, until Bug Eater,
Nice.
the biggest actual possum of the tribe, gave Big Squeak shit about his mustache. About his mustache not even being white in color like everyone else's facial hair. The conversation went something like this. Squeak, hiss, shot Bug Eater. Well, it doesn't matter if it's black or white. I grew it myself, Big Squeak said quite defensively. Bug Eater retorted, squeak, squeak, in a sarcastic tone.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
he did
well,
not.
I'll have a bunch more later, I bet. Bug Eater hissed dismissively. Big Squeak was a gentle soul, raised by a great possum woman. He wasn't about to start upheaval in the possum clan's social structure, so he stopped. Stopped trying to defend himself. This would make for a trend between the two of them for the next few years. It really wasn't in Big Squeak's nature to roll over like this, but he knew his mother wouldn't approve of him punting Bug Eater into our river.
Yeah, I think he could. He could be the leader if he wanted.
Yeah, but this is how he was raised, man.
He just hasn't self-actualized himself.
Yeah. And due to his genetic differences, he never felt quite right in the Warren. So it was rather easy for Bug Eater to throw him off balance emotionally by simply pointing out the lack of chest hair or the fact that his legs were too long to fit inside the Warren. After quite some time of this, Big Squeak decided to take a morning jog through the forest, something he did often enough in the day, patrolling his usual route with a few deviations here or there, taking in the majesty of the forest in the literal light he wouldn't otherwise be able to admire it in. Over tree roots and through bushes he ran, his trunk-like legs and bark-like calloused feet carried him fast and far. The sights of the forest were not blurred to him. He felt lush greens fly by, he recognized little saplings sprouting up out of the ground and hopped right over him. His feet sank into the dark, rich earth and bounded off sponge-like pads of mycelium. He ran, and he ran. The wind rushed by his face, carrying with it various aromas of the forest. He didn't realize how nose-blind he was to the rejuvenating scent of evergreens. The lucky bastard. He followed the sun, the bright light he dared not look at directly. Soon, he noticed the trees beginning to thin, and oddly enough, stop growing altogether. It made him uneasy. He had never liked clearings, nowhere to hide. And it is rumored that the she-beast who rules this forest makes her home in a clearing.
Yeah, also, random encounters always happen in clearings.
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
You gotta be careful.
But this was different. As he looked out, he could see maybe 2 shrubs and grass everywhere, coating the hills and open plains with a shaggy mane of wind-wicked green. His view was unobstructed. Racking his brain, he had always liked climbing the ancient oaks and surveying the forest from above, and this vast space reminded him so much of that. He grasped to his right to hold onto a tree trunk out of habit, trying to maintain a balance he already had. He could see the wind blow. It caused the blades of grass to sway like leaves of a tree, but somehow more reactive and alive. He could smell the mice hiding in the said grass. Silently, he weighed the benefits of leaving the forest to say hi to them, until his eyes rested on something he had never seen before. And to our expertly trained minds, what he saw could underwhelmingly be described as a 13th century Germanic-style village. Complete with pointed roofs and sawmills galore.
Ooh.
But to Big Squeak, this was all too alien. Just from looking at the off-white walls and brown roofs, he at first thought this building to be some sort of mushroom, perhaps. No, that's silly. That's wood for sure, he thought, but what kind of tree grows like that? Did some creature arrange fallen logs to build an above-ground warren? Like a bird's nest, but why on the ground? What in the mud pit lives there? And why does it smell so familiar? The implications of what he saw hurt his head, and he decided to jog back to his clan. He told tales of what he saw, but none believed him, save for his closest friends. Truly, it was a marvel to behold, exclaimed Big Squeak. Squeak, squeak, Stinkpaw said sarcastically, rolling his eyes. No, I'm serious, it's all true. Squeak? Questioned Fat Mike. Big Squeak perked up at that. Yeah, I could show you. Squeak, squeak, the 2 possums said in unison. Squank, Bug Eater rudely interjected. Wait, what do you mean?
Boo.
Squank. But it's real, I could show you. And I don't think it's dangerous. Squank, hiss. I suppose you're right. I don't know if, whatever lives there, eats possums or whatever, but... Confused and dejected, Big Squeak went to rest his head when his adoptive possum mom came over to comfort him. They have a heartfelt conversation about the probability of there being more to this world than just the forest. But you have to stay here, it's your home, and we are your family. Squeak, squeak, she reasoned. Of course, Ma. It's just something calls me to investigate. His mom gave him a short, pitiful squeak, acknowledging his desire, yet reinstating her point. Yeah. The possum language is rather intricate, in case you hadn't pieced it together.
There's a lot of subtleties.
A lot of translation difficulties.
I like how Big Squeak speaks English to them.
Yeah, thank you.
So I don't know where he learned it, but...
And they napped together. His mom was getting up there in years, and she needed her rest. So first thing that evening, Big Squeak heads out to collect berries and herbs. But also a bunch of sticks, for he was getting ideas. After some protest, Big Squeak upgrades the warren with insulated walls and a flood gate, and a nice raised floor. Of course, he was careful to avoid working on the delicate taproot from the oak tree which formed the backbone of the warren. He worked himself into a fever pitch, weaving together smaller branches and creating Y splints with larger ones. Soon he made himself quite a fortified location. Everyone loved it, except Bug Eater, who wasn't getting the respect he felt he deserved.
He's a dick.
Yeah, you know. The warren was warmer, cleaner, larger, food could be stored inside, and many more upgrades were in the works. All in all, it was a real game changer for possum society. However, none of it felt at all right to Bug Eater. So one morning, when restlessness overtook him, while Big Squeak was out on a jog and the other possums were all fast asleep, Bug Eater woke up mad as ever. He thought seething, angry thoughts, and he paced around inside the warren, squeaking quietly, angrily, to himself and nibbling in rage on the few furnishings as he began to formulate his plan. He felt he couldn't allow Big Squeak to continue like this. No. It was obvious that all the other possums had fallen for his stupid ideas. I mean, well, they were nice improvements, but they weren't my ideas. This undermines my authority. That makes me look dumb and out for going against it. I can't have that. No. He couldn't just piss on all the floors. Everyone would know he did it. And he couldn't just fight Big Squeak. Even though Bug Eater was the biggest possum, he wasn't that big. He had to figure out a way to remove Big Squeak and win back the clan all in one go. So Bug Eater seethed long and hard, and soon he came to the realization that he needed outside help to deal with this mutant possum menace.
Oh no.
He went against all tradition. He went against all warnings, and against his very own instinct. He traveled close to the forest's heart. A place where few creatures more intelligent than a bug dare to venture. A place where the air is so oppressively fresh, it gave Bug Eater a head rush just being there. The heart of the forest was the home of the tyrant, and her essence sank deep into the soil of the forest around. His sight failed him in the day, so he followed his instincts, walking precisely where he did not want to walk. Where the very air in front of him vibrated with a malevolent energy, forcing himself forward every single step. And soon after the mounting silence began to eat away at the corners of his mind, he found something. A small cavern, the walls of which were stone, held in place by the roots of two twin oaks. An eerie neon green light emanating and pulsating from its depths. At the entrance of the cave, something inside him just broke. He realized his fur had been sticking straight up like needles for the better part of an hour now, and of course, he already knew this was a bad idea. Just standing at the mouth of the cave sent him over the edge emotionally. And as possums are neurotic creatures, prone to fits of fainting, he did so. Tumbling down into the depths of the small cave, not even he was immune to the limitations of his own blood. It was a few hours later when he came to, finding the glowing to be some sort of bioluminescent moss. The fear in his heart began to subside. He allowed himself the comforting thought that maybe he was overreacting, and that there was nothing to be afraid of all along. Of course, he was dead wrong. As his milky white eyes rested on the glowing moss, he realized something horrifying. That the moss had molded itself into a depiction of her, the dreaded keeper of the woods, a lifelike still image of the Dryad herself. The physical similarities between the Dryad shape and that of Big Squeak were unsettling to Bug Eater. And at last his murderous resolve was finally broken. He did not need to see this. He just needed to get back home. He did not know what he was going to do about having a pink-fleshed Dryadkin in his home, but one problem at a time, right? Double fuck this, he squeaked to nobody in particular. And he turned tail.
Sure.
Maybe I should change that. Squeak, squeak, he squeaked to nobody in particular. And he turned tail to see the actual Dryad looking down at him. He pissed and shit himself violently and began squeaking submissively at the feet of the Dryad. The Dryad squatted down and picked up Bug Eater by the scruff of his neck and smiled, a piercing, malevolent gaze penetrating Big Squeak utterly. "Hello, Possum. Why have you transgressed into my domain today?" she said in a low and even voice. A voice not meant for the ears of mere possums. A voice that sent unwelcome yet rejuvenating vibes into Bug Eater's bones. Cut to about a week later.
Okay.
The Possum Collective, which is now bustling with activity.
It's just like a straight up Sim City now.
Like it's a fortress right now.
Yeah.
The possums are collecting sticks and helping apply technological innovations brought to them by Big Squeak. There's a stream that had been diverted to the warren, and a series of leaf mills bringing water to the underground fungus farm.
Wow.
Yeah, shit's getting intense. The walls of the warren were strong, and a clear deterrent for the forest's other dwellers. Things are starting to get bushcraft industrialized up in here.
Yeah.
But then, Bug Eater approaches and enters. Bug Eater says nothing to explain his presence. He struts into the warren, earning the worried glances of all who see him. For Bug Eater had grown in size, now even larger than Big Squeak. The flesh beneath his now patchy fur was gray, pulsating with veins of green. Stretch marks covered every bit of his exposed skin. His fangs, now much, much larger and sharper, developed a second row not unlike that of a shark. And he now boasted a third milky white eye in the center of his forehead. He was smiling broadly, or perhaps the skin around his terrifying maw was pulled back too far to not smile. He did not challenge Big Squeak's authority. Not directly, anyway. He did make a public announcement that he understands everyone's desire for the easy life that Big Squeak was offering, but that he did still not approve of the changes to the warren. He let the clan know that he was going south to the other end of the forest to build a new warren, like the old one. Simple and underground, the way nature intended possum warrens to be. And if anyone wished to join him, they would be welcome. Bug Eater turned his attention to the tree in which he was born and raised. With a slight hint of remorse, he caressed the bark with his grotesque claw. He left an odd gash, a name, in fact, carved into the wood beneath the bark. Of course, he did not know whose name. And he did not know the significance. He simply did as he was instructed to do.
Oh no. It's a Roanoke.
It's a what now?
No, nothing. Like that pilgrim village that mysteriously disappeared, and then the only thing left was a name and a tree.
Oh man.
We'll say like Croatoan or Roanoke.
Right.
Yeah.
He left, wearing the same wide-eyed facial expression he wore when he reappeared only moments prior. A few of the more orthodox possums decided to go with him, leaving the rest to their fate.
Some of the conservative possums.
Yeah, some of the possums were like, fuck, that dude's giant. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna just follow this and see where this goes.
Yeah.
Another week passed, and the innovations are aplenty. Daily scouting missions to the tree line revealed hints of information. Pointed roofs for heat retention, harnessing the wind for nut grinding. But before too long, the eerie presence of the Dryad loomed over the possum village. The tree, which the original warren was built upon, cracked and wobbled. A primal green energy flowed through it, and the tree awakened. Slowly at first, but as the minutes turned into hours, and the sun finally set, its roots twisted together, creating a sprawling mass of several tree legs. Its branches twisted and shooed off their bark from themselves, creating fine wooden stakes. The flowers of the tree all fell off, save for one, which grew and glowed bright with energy. And finally, the trunk of the tree snapped open, creating a cracked and splintery wooden maw that roared like an angry pan flute. The awakening, of course, destroyed the warren, collapsing all of its internal structures that had been so gently built around the taproot.
Yeah, I didn't think... none of those things sounded very solid.
Yeah. And the Ents' rampage to destroy all the other fortifications caused the Possum clan some significant losses. Those that could not run were squished, skewered, or otherwise consumed by the rampaging tree. Among the list of possums was Big Squeak's adoptive mother.
No.
And while this all went down, Big Squeak did not stand tall and defiantly. He panicked. He crumbled at the pressure. He broke down in tears, clutching his legs, hyperventilating. He knelt, powerless at the roots of this monster. He had practiced being submissive so many times before that now, in the time to act, he froze. He did not notice the branch swing in a wide arc and knock him out from above. End of Act 1.
Damn. Wow, rip.
Yeah,
rip
dude.
Possum mom, dude.
Fucking rip.
Rest in peace. Well, this story had like a lot of themes, I would say. So I found that interesting about it. Where like there's like this nature versus tradition theme, and also like civilization. But then there's also the fact that the representative of nature is corrupted and evil. So it's kind of like a two-way morality here, very gray.
Thank you. Thank you.
Didn't expect the surprise Mufasa at the end. His mom dies. Surprise Bambi, mayhaps. But yeah, this story particularly, you have like a lot of unfolding, I would say, which I didn't always think of you as an unfolding author, but come to think of it, that is kind of a strength of yours.
I'm curious what you mean by that. Like, not trying to brag, but like, what?
An unfolding author is like someone who goes into a lot of detail about like the feelings of characters and like really digs into what every little thing means. So like it's more common in like classic literature where like the character has like one conversation and then thinks about it for like 2 paragraphs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I guess I never thought of you as that kind of writer, but in this one you have like a lot of description that is also reflective of like characters' feelings, I felt like. So like when he was running through the woods, that was like really vivid. And it also brought like a lot across of the character, you know what I mean? Like the sense surrounding him and how he perceives this and that.
Yeah,
so.
I think there's like the most scene description packed into that one paragraph.
Yeah.
And I took it easy for the rest of the story.
There was a lot, but it was very vivid, so yeah, no, good times. I'm curious to see how many acts we get out of this storyline. I think this is fun. I mean, a normal play is 5, but I don't know.
I could do 5, sure.
Yeah, well, no pressure, but we'll see. Yeah, and there's like a Cain and Abel going on with a Bug Eater and a Big Squeak. There's the friend dynamics. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of layers. So
I like how see why in your story and mine, we both had like translation difficulties.
Yeah, exactly. I had bare subtitles and yeah. All right, should we wrap up the show, brother?
Yeah, sure. Let's okay. Yeah. Well, how do we wrap up the show?
How do we wrap up the show? Thank you everyone for listening. If you'd like to get notifications of the episodes as they are released, I do post them to our Twitter, which is at NGNKOM. Is that right? It's just the abbreviation of the show on Twitter. Yeah. So that's a good place to get at us. And we highly encourage comments. We would love if you have prompt ideas for the show, please put them in the comments or message us any way possible. We that's how we get our prompts, is from the audience. Hopefully, thus far it's been our friends. So, let's see. Do we have our prompts for the next stories?
Yes, we do. Actually, One Fine Egg has delivered not one but 2 separate prompts.
Yeah, One Fine Egg, really our only super fan.
He's also the best super fan. I'm probably gonna send him a t-shirt or something.
I can't describe how much I like One Fine Egg, or how important he is, because I think his comments alone have brought me back to doing this show. I will say, it's not the only factor, obviously, but just the fact that he's always in the comments and, saying good things. I'm like, dude, one guy watches this show, I'll fucking make it. Yeah, let's go. So thank you, One Fine Egg, for holding this entire podcast on your shoulders. Yeah, so what are his prompts?
The prompts are rat folk and fungus.
Okay, I feel like, you could do a sequel.
Yeah.
You might not have to change anything.
Actually, I kind of had a different idea. Rat folk and fungus, I got a different story brewing right now.
Yeah, well, we got a rodent once again, and I had a lot of fungus in my story, but I'll make it work.
Yeah.
We'll just go to a different setting. Or maybe I'll give you the detective noir sequel you asked for. We'll see. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. That's the show. I hope you all can sleep well.
Yeah. Peace out. It was. It's been real.
It's been real. Good night.
It's been fantasy. Peace out.